Two retail giants, one silent battle. Costco bets on loyalty and living wages, while Walmart flexes on scale and pricing power. But who's really winning? On the balance sheet and in the break room. Let's pull back the shrink wrap and break down the business behind the bulk. All right, Jamie, Walmart versus Costco.
It's a big one. It's what everybody knows, right? It impacts everybody every single day.
Absolutely. And Walmart is a little bit more complicated because it's not just Walmart, it's also Sam's Club. So just like calling it out there at the beginning that you can't exactly compare Walmart itself and Costco. We got to compare a little bit more Sam's Club to Costco.
Yeah, when you see these traditional comparisons, you either see Walmart and Costco, which really means Sam's Club and Costco, or Walmart and Target, right? With the two big everyday retailers. So I'm going to try to refer to them as Supercenter Walmart. That's the one we go to every day, doesn't require membership, and Sam's Club. We'll see how well that works. But let's go ahead and talk. I mean, Walmart is the behemoth, right? Even in the warehouse business, they are going to be a behemoth. Associated with it. They're a powerhouse. There aren't that many warehouses here in the United States to compete against. We've got three main players: Costco, Sam's Club, and BJ Warehouse out, which is mainly on the West Coast. Some people may not have heard of it.
Never heard of that one. That's new to me. So, okay. I thought there were only two.
Nope, there are three. So Costco, Seattle-based business. And you can see it in its everyday business. So think about the other places coming out of Seattle, Starbucks, places like that. And what you get is a little bit more of a consumer forward, employee friendly. Now there are some questions about that as far as Starbucks goes these days, but historically more of a employee friendly atmosphere. That emphasizes a little bit more higher pay, better customer service compared to the Arkansas-based Walmart, absolute rock bottom prices. Let's make it convenient for the consumers.
Yeah, they're definitely two different approaches, and I've never actually put the two together, that they both came from Seattle, largely because I didn't know that Costco came from Seattle. But that's really interesting that you say that, and that they both have the same approach. My backup plan, should all else fail and I totally tank my career, has been to go to Starbucks because they have benefits for part-time employees, which I just learned Costco has as well.
Yes.
So yeah, it's all about the benefits.
Yeah, it is. It is very different. So living wage and benefits, that is one of the biggest arguments associated with Costco and how they treat their employees. As a result of that, you will see longer lived employees. You don't see as much turnover that's there. And I'm going to go back to what we were talking about a couple of days ago, which was, I actually think that Costco people like their job and
Yes.
and that Walmart people hate being there. Like, I don't see anybody really excited to say, I work for Walmart, I work for Sam's Club. And yet you see that all the time with Costco, some sort of pride of, I work for Costco.
Absolutely. And I did a little digging into what is the difference between their approach to their employees. And so Costco in general pays their employees an hourly wage of around $31 an hour. I'm sure it varies widely depending on the state and the city, but it's roughly an average of $31 an hour. And then if you look at Walmart's hourly wage, it's around $24, $25 an hour. So Costco is paying their employees about $6 per hour more, which doesn't feel like a lot, but it has a massive, massive difference.
It is huge. It is absolutely huge. And I'm not sure if those numbers are just the wages or whether that does include the benefits, because Walmart does not offer part-time employees those type of benefits that Costco does.
Exactly. And that actually, so the research that I did, and again, when we do research like this, it's not like the companies are very, very public about this information. There's a lot of guessing that goes into it. But from what I've read, it does not include the $31 an hour, does not include benefits. So the cost of employing someone at Costco is significantly higher than it is at Walmart, because not only do they pay them more, but they also, in general, they give them benefits such as healthcare and retirement benefits.
So let's talk a little bit about why they're doing that. So we go
Mhm.
back to Costco. We go to Jen Senegal, their very legendary CEO, who no longer is their CEO because transitions in time. But
Mhm.
their very legendary CEO came out and basically said, "Hey, this is what we need to do. If we have happy employees, they're going to have less sick pays, less bad days. They're going to treat my customers better. And as a result, you're going to have a better experience at Costco, which means you're going to come back more often. And it's this virtuous cycle that they're suggesting based off of keeping their employees happy."
Right, absolutely. And it's interesting. It's an entirely different approach. It's a philosophically different approach. So Walmart, the everyday low prices, that truly is their primary motivator. And so one, I believe Costco sees their employees as the facilitator of the experience versus Walmart, who sees their employees as a necessary means to an end. Right. So I think
Yes.
one is an expense, one is an investment.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do one more a little shout out is uh Costco also closes on holidays,
Yeah.
right? And so holiday schedule for Costco. Um, I'm trying to find the complete list because there's a few of them, and some of them are kind of surprising to me with what's happening. So they close for New Year's Day, Easter Sunday, Memorial Day, the 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, okay, Christmas, okay, right? So if you go to Walmart, you will find Walmart and Costco and Sam's Club often open on those days, especially Thanksgiving Day. That was a really big deal, right? When people started moving Black Friday from the day after Thanksgiving to Thanksgiving. It's now been pushed back again to that Friday. Costco did not join in that movement. They said, nope, this is time for our families. This is where
Right.
our employees need to be there. You wanted to be off. And think about Memorial Day and think about Labor Day in retail. What is that traditionally? It's a reason for a sale. It's a
Right.
reason, oh my
Exactly.
gosh, it's a reason
Yeah.
for more profits,
Right.
right? It's a holiday weekend. You want more employees in there because everybody else is off. So you want them to go into your warehouse and spend
Right.
more money. But
Right.
at Costco, no, it's shut down, not
Right.
there, closed. And that is for their employees so that
Yes.
they get the same day off that people who work at a desk job somewhere else also get.
Absolutely. And I think we saw this a few years ago when stores were becoming more competitive around Black Friday. And we even saw some stores open on Thanksgiving Day. And I do believe the employee backlash was pretty significant across the board. We saw it all over the headlines of the major newspapers that the stores that said they weren't going to be open were now leading the new trend of being more employee friendly, which I think is the kind of the trend that we're talking about in general right now in the two strategies. So Costco, I doing some research, and again, we have to, some of these numbers are a little bit iffy, but I believe Walmart, about 50% of their employees are part-time. So part-time meaning that, in Walmart's land, they do not get benefits, whereas 50% of Costco's employees are part-time and they do get benefits. And so I
Yeah.
think that is a critical note. Not everybody wants a full-time job, or some people want a part-time job in addition to a full-time job, right? Many people work multiple jobs. And the thing is that Costco is buying loyalty and reduced turnover by offering these benefits, which are very expensive. I will say they're very expensive. So how do you think that impacts their cost of hiring? Because in the end, it is all about dollars. Um, how you've got some data on how much attrition costs an organization?
Yeah. So there's been several research studies out there on what is the cost of attrition associated with it. On the low end, you see somewhere between 30 and 50% of an annual fee is how much it would cost to replace an individual that is kind of an everyday lower level worker. And that number goes all the way up to 135 to 350% if you're talking about CEOs or CFOs or something like that. Because you have to think about the fact that you have to advertise, onboard, train, and then get
Mm,
them enough experience for them to be at their full productive capacity. And so for most companies, that training period, that up until full capacity, is typically somewhere between 6 weeks and 6 months, depending on
right.
the job.
Got it. Got it. So we know that turnover is really expensive. So this is, it is a strategy. It's not just a goodwill gesture. It is a strategy by Costco to reduce overall prices. And I think what you and I are sharing in from our personal experiences is when we encounter companies like this, our experience is better. And that, I've told you I choose United Airlines because I think their employees are happier. Well, at least I feel like they treat me better. It sounds like you've got the same experience in Walmart versus Costco.
Yes, absolutely. So I have been member of both. I personally go to Costco now all the time. It is the one that is further away from my house. Right now, there is a Sam's Club that is about a mile and a half away. I instead choose to drive through St. Louis traffic to get to a Costco instead. And when I actually lived in middle of nowhere, Illinois, I had a Sam's Club in my hometown that I was at, and I chose instead to drive 35 miles over to another town in order to get my Costco. So I am a loyal Costco member with what is happening. And the reason I choose to do that is a combination of the fact that I've had some tremendous customer service there. And number two is just that I've always had the help I need that's going on. I bought a mattress there one time alone without kids, and they were able to load it for me. They were smile, they were happy. They had found me trying to struggle to pull this mattress out, and this like employee immediately stopped. He's like, "Wait, hold on, let me go get the right type of cart." Right? I one time tried to buy what's called a lily pad, which is this gigantic float that goes on a lake. That happens. I happen to drive a Suburban. You think a Suburban would be large enough to fit this lily pad? It was not, and so Costco actually took it back
Oh,
and said,
wow.
okay. And they held it for me for 24 hours. And then I was able to come back with my husband's truck and pick it up instead, because I didn't have that ability to deal with it. I actually tried to pick it up in the rain, which is why I brought my Suburban that first day. So
Yeah.
the fact that the box had gotten all wet while I was trying to load it did not matter at Costco.
Got it. Got it. So when we look at how these affect the prices, so we know that paying your employees more does not result necessarily in lower prices. In doing a little bit of research, it appears to me that Sam's Club's prices in general are lower than Costco's. And I think there's a study that says they're approximately like 15 to 18% lower than Costco. So I'm curious what you think, since you've shopped both. It sounds to me like you're comfortable paying the higher prices in general, or what do you see there?
I am paying for goods. I am paying for higher quality goods at
Okay.
Costco than I am paying at Walmart. So if you actually look at the numbers, Costco's margins are about 3%. So they're right competitive with Walmart. What
Walmart.
Costco actually does, and it's a purposeful strategy. They collect those membership fees, and then they price their products that are in the warehouse to try to average about a 2% profit return on what you're actually buying. That's minuscule. It's really just trying to deal with inflation and the cost of electricity, right? I mean, there is very little margin for error when it comes to what we bought at Costco, right? If you make an inventory mistake, a 2% margin can get eaten up so quickly. So if we go back, we think about it, all I am really paying for is I'm paying for my membership at Costco, and then I am paying cost plus, basically. So Costco is just trying to pass on what they spent on that product. Since I am paying more at Costco than Walmart, that's just Costco paid more for the product than Walmart. And it's absolutely true. You can see it in the quality of the product.
Got it. So, as I understand it, there are a lot of people who are really passionate about this topic, this
Yeah.
Costco. I was, in full disclosure, I was a Costco member when I lived in Kansas City. When we moved to St. Louis, I'm not sure if it was the drive or what. We were no longer members, and honestly, we just spent so much money at Costco that was like, I don't know if we can afford to, because it's the impulse purchase. They're banking on that. So, and we definitely resembled that strategy. So, but let's talk about that difference. So Sam's Club, I've been told actually they send shoppers into Costco to look at the prices to make sure that they price their products lower than Costco. They are a low price strategy, but the Costco loyal members care deeply about the quality of the products for the price. So talk to me a little bit about that. Like,
They both have a
yeah.
generic brand. Let's talk
Okay.
about that really quick. So they both have a generic brand. So Costco is called Kirkland's,
Hmm.
and Walmart's is Sam's Choice, right?
Okay.
That's there. They are very different strategies. The big known, but nobody seems to realize, is that generic products are typically made by name brand manufacturers. They just
Okay.
slap a different box, different
Right.
item onto it, and then it's generic version. So it doesn't have the advertising cost behind it or something like that. But you'll find that some of the spices that you're buying that are generic are made by McCormick. And in Costco's situation, go ahead and get those Costco Kirkland diapers. Why? They're made Huggies. They're actually Huggies with a different animal printed on the front. There's no longer Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. There's a generic elephant or
Mhm.
giraffe on there, but it's the same diaper as what is in the Huggies brands that's there, which is why, by the way, if you've ever been to Costco to buy diapers, and that's when I first joined Costco, was when I was going through the
Sure.
diaper
Yeah.
phase of my
Me
four
too.
kids. Um, is that you could actually go in there and discover that depending on the day of the sale, if Huggies had some sort of coupon going on, which they would hand you as you walked into the door, the Huggies name brand would actually be cheaper than the Kirkland's generic.
Wow.
Um,
Interesting.
and it was because of the fact that that coupon made such a difference for Huggies, which was when Huggies was taking that hit, not Costco, because it's a Huggy diaper inside that box. That's there. Same thing is true. So the vodka, go ahead and buy the Kirkland vodka. It's Grey Goose.
Mhm.
That's there. The bourbon, at least at one time, was Maker's Mark. So you can go in and you get these generic items, but they tended to be the higher end branded versions that's there. Now, if you go instead to Sam's Club and you get the
Mhm.
Sam's Choice diapers, you're going to get the equivalents of a Love's that's there. So, Love's and Pampers are made both by the same company. Pampers is the higher end, Love's is the lower end brand. You're going to get the Love's. That's
Got
there.
it.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's the low cost strategy, but it's
Right.
showing the difference that's there. So if you're the type of person who goes to Walmart, the super center, and picks out the Huggies, you're probably going to want to be a Costco member. If you're the type of person who goes to Walmart and picks up the Loves, you want to be a
Yes,
Sam's
Sam's
Club.
Club member. That is so fascinating. Okay. So, and by the way, how do you know? How is there any way for us to know the manufacturer behind the
You can
generic?
try Googling it. A lot of them, there are the addresses that are on the manufacturing sites and stuff like that. People do compare them. There's a ton of websites
Interesting.
out there that will tell you the hidden brand behind Kirkland's. That's there. To be honest, for me, the reason I know that the Huggies thing is correct is because I used to have Kimberly Clark, who makes Huggies, come into my classroom, and they would talk about the fact they
Oh,
made Kirkland brand, and they told me exactly what I just told you.
that's
So,
awesome. Very good.
yeah.
Okay. Well, let's compare also their membership tiers and the cost. So,
Yeah.
their strategies appear to be reflected also in their membership fees, right?
Yeah, so you can do those numbers.
Sure. Yeah. So, Sam's Club has a $50 per year membership fee, and they have a plus membership, which gives you 2% back on cash on all of your purchases. It gives you free shipping for online ordering over $50, etc. They've got a few more perks. So it's $50 for the base membership fee just to shop in the store, just to shop in the store, and then 110 for their higher end membership. And now Costco has a $65 membership fee, so $15 more, and their higher end comparable 2% back is $130 versus 110. So we're seeing essentially the same pricing strategy in their memberships. The one thing that I thought was interesting, and this could be just because Walmart owns Sam's Club, but there are 890 Costco's in the I think in the US. It could be the
No,
US.
no, 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 US, international, and Canadian.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Versus 600 Sam's Clubs. Now, again, I wonder if that's because Walmart has such a presence in so many locations that putting a Sam's Club in all these locations may not be appropriate. What are your thoughts on that?
That may be true. I actually just think that, Walmart's trying to do more things.
Yeah.
That's there, right? So I think it also might just be distraction. They're expanding internationally. That's there. It's actually kind of surprising. I would actually think that Walmart, having already had a foothold in one, version, would be able to expand and do more warehousing outside of it. But Costco also is a little bit more nimble and has
Mhm.
been pretty smart with the way they have spread out. You'll notice that you won't find a Sam's Club next door to a Walmart, or
Right.
sorry, next door to a Costco. A Sam's
Right.
Club and a Costco that's there. They do spread themselves out, or at least a little bit. That's there. I'm trying to think about it. They may be 4 or 5 miles apart. Most of the time, they're about 20 miles apart, depending on the density of the area,
Mhm.
because you have to have a certain number of people to support any sort of warehouse building
Right.
type of business. I think it's somewhere in the 300,000 people range.
Oh, interesting.
In order to support one warehouse, they've done some numbers associated with it. So that's why you see a few of them. And if Sam's Club beat them there, then Costco's not going to go there. If the other, and vice versa, with what's going on, just because they need the volume to be able to get a percentage. Who will pay for a membership? Who will want uh, warehouse system that we have in the United States? It's kind of an unusual thing for us to have it. By the way, I mean, we talk a little bit about cultural situations.
Mhm.
Partly the reason we can have a Costco or a Sam's Club is because we have big ass houses here in the United States in so many ways, right? If you're living in a European flat in Paris, I got to tell you, the worst thing you'd want to do is ever go to a Costco, because you're like, I would have nowhere to put my bale of paper towels. Um,
I love it. It's okay. I love it that it's a very American concept to buy in bulk.
yeah, the idea of a freezer, right, where you
Right.
where you freeze a whole half a cow. This is an American thing. This is not a European thing. So that's there. So both these countries, as a result, the reason I'm telling you that is because both these countries are a little bit geography bound with what's going on. And so there is some questions long run about what is Costco going to do, because we're kind of saturated here in the United States with the number of warehouses we can have.
Yeah.
People, either Sam's Club, BJ, or Costco have built where there is the population density to support one of these type of buildings.
That's
Um,
fascinating. I know we're sort of wrapping this one up, but I'm curious if you're Costco leaders, or Sam's Club leaders, right? You're within Walmart. How do you continue to grow?
so I find it really interesting, because there's one more strategy that I'm just going to spring on you that I just thought of
Awesome.
that I need to talk about, and that is the loss leaders
Mhm.
that
Oh,
both of
yes.
those companies have. And Costco has a very famous loss leader. Do you know what it is?
I just heard about the chickens.
That is,
Like,
it's the
I had
chickens.
my dad tells me about this one day, and I'm like, What do you?" He's like, I'm just going around the store waiting for the chicken bell," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yes. So rotisserie chickens, is Sam's or Costco's famous item, and you can get rotisserie chicken, by the way, at Sam's Club too. You can also get really cheap pizza and the $1.50 hot dog and soda combo at their little cafeteria at the front of the store. Right. And people will go in there. Why are they selling $1.50? And this hot dog, by the way, is like this long. It's as long, it's bigger than my head. It's thick. It's like a full pound, all beef, quality hot dog. It's kind of crazy. And a soda for $1.50.
Do you know
I took
Sam's
my
Club has the same for $1.38?
They
And I
do.
had no idea. I am only familiar with Costco's food loss leaders, and I don't know why, and maybe I'm just not paying attention.
No, but it is. It's let me go in there. Let me lose 55 cents on this meal, but you're going to be in my store and you're going to buy these really big products that I'm actually not going to make that much money on either. Right.
Mm.
But the fact that I love the fact that I took my teenage son, he and I both had a piece of pizza and a soda for, and their pizzas are, again, is bigger than my head. Um, uh, for $5.68 for the two of us. That's there. You
Wow.
want to buy an entire, I have a family of six. We can buy one pizza and feed our family. It's kind of crazy. $9.99. Like these really big loss leaders allows me then to also go in and buy bulk chips and other foods and their meats and stuff like that, and keeps me coming back to pay I'm the $130
Ooh,
membership tier.
fancy.
I know. And to be honest, I use it for so much more. Like they have sucked me into the Costco ecosystem, and I have not had that same experience at Walmart. So they have this little ecosystem. So I'm not joking. My tires come from Costco so that I can get like, the free checks and stuff like that. And when I've had issues, they've been able to fix it very, very quickly. I know Sam's Club offers the exact same
Mhm.
thing. I'm going on a Alaskan cruise next month. I booked it through Costco Travel. Um,
Wow.
I did. Why? Because I get the same price that I got going directly through the cruise line that's there, but I also got a Costco gift card to go with it. So basically, the fees, the travel agency fees that Costco generated by booking it, they've shared with me in the form of a Costco gift card.
Interesting.
And for me, because I'm sending 6 people to Alaska, it comes out to be like $600 of rebate that I got by booking through Costco without it costing me anything more.
Wow.
And so there are car dealership memberships. I can get my house sided. I can get my roof redone. I can get my closets redone. They have all of these other benefits that go on in that Costco incubator that's happening beyond my just buying the Nutella bars and the bulk chips and the
Interesting.
goldfish in the gigantic box that I buy.
So tell me, like, does Sam's Club do all the same?
Sam Club has most of the same product that is there, but it's not as well known. It's not as well advertised, and it is not there. And it's partially possibly because that's not what I'm looking for as a low cost leader, right? It's not that service. This is an additional service that they are able to provide me in my kind of higher end situation. So we're targeting a different market.
That's fascinating. That is absolutely fascinating. I love how this Costco strategy, you call it an ecosystem. I have said the same thing about Apple. I like the ecosystem of Apple. And I can also see where that might not be a compelling strategy in a low cost business. I also think you said something earlier that was really profound. Walmart has a lot more going on than just Sam's Club. And I that has got to play a role
It
in how
absolutely
these
does.
two
You
companies go to market.
you can't pay a stock boy at cost or at Sam's Club, a $5 bonus because they play at Sam's Club rather than at Walmart, which oftentimes is literally right next door.
Why not?
Because you'll lose your employees. Like they won't want to be there. They're going to know it, and You're going to incentivize unioning in that
That's it.
scenario,
That's it.
right? And
That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
that's the scary
Yeah.
part, right? And
Right.
there are a few unions inside of Costco. There's a little bit there. I know Walmart has been notorious, right, for trying to bust any sort of unionization of their employees. As Sam but it hasn't happened. Costco has limited the number that's been unionized, partly because of their generous benefits and stuff like that. But they do have it's not perfect. Their employee
Yeah.
relations are not perfect, and there are
And
going to be locations.
I think some of their unions that they actually have, and so their employees haven't tried to unionize because they feel like they're well paid. They don't have a need for negotiating because they're well paid. But I believe that some of Costco's unions they've actually through acquisition. I could be wrong about that. So that just when you go acquire another company that has union presence, you acquire that into your organization. But I do think that's fascinating because in theory, yes, if you have two different stores, I have a Walmart and a Sam's Club. They are different stores. That means I can pay my employees differently because they're doing different, in theory, different work. Maybe it's very small difference, but it's different. But your point is spot on. The Walmart employees will say, "Hey, we're owned by the same company," and they'll rebel. And I think that's really the key is that you could end up in a pretty bad situation in your Walmart stores by trying to make a change in your Sam's Club stores.
Yeah. I find it really interesting too. So again, you're not a Costco person. We're talking all about this great customer service, great customer service, great customer service. It's totally true. But I got to tell you, in any other field other than a Costco, I would probably be so pissed off when I go to check out because these guys are just zoom, 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 zoom. Like you better have your card out in advance when you're trying to get there. And like they're asking you as they're still scanning, please put your credit card in, please put your debit card in, put your PIN number in, because it will process within a few seconds. They're not going to be the person who has this nice long chat with you while you're scanning and they're going really, really slowly. They've got two people trying to do it. Be like, no, don't pick that thing up from underneath your cart. Let me click, 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 and put your card in while we're doing this, because you're going to be out the door within 30 seconds, despite having this gigantic box's worth of stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy efficient, which is awesome in a lot of ways, because the lines can get quite long. Don't try to go to Costco on a Saturday afternoon if you want your, sanity. But it's also absolutely amazing how we can talk at the same time of being funneled and shuffled as fast as possible, and yet talk about amazing customer service in the same breath. In every other setting, everybody would be so pissed off.
Yeah, absolutely. How fascinating. Yeah, I guess they earn a lot of grace through the rest of their store. So, Jamie, this has been awesome. Anything else you want to cover?
You know what? I don't care for the hot dogs. I love the pizza. That's there. And I find it, the only other thing I'm going to say, it's just a little bit weird, is completely random. The calorie count on the cheese pizza higher than the pepperoni, because they put that much cheese on it, which is awesome.
Ooh, well, I am a vegetarian, so the only thing that interests me and all that is the cheese pizza. So
it's great. It's delicious. It's so unhealthy for you. One single slice is something like 900 calories. But if you haven't tried it before, please go try it. It is worth it, and go compare. See what's best for you, because it's a really interesting strategy. Yeah. That is same type of product. In the end, the same type of margins, right? Which is fascinating. But you've got to come back and get those renewals of those membership fees. Right. And I think that Costco's branding of happier employees, and even though I'm charging a premium price, works. It's showing that it works, which is pretty cool.
That's fantastic. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on today's deep dive of the warehouse war. So whether you are team everyday low prices or team $1.50 hot dogs, remember, behind every bulk is an interesting strategy worth unpacking. If you've loved this episode, please hit like, hit subscribe, share with the smartest, best, funnest person that you absolutely know, and ask them what they think about Sam's vs. Costco. Got a myth in the boardroom that you want busted or dived into? Also share us with that in our comments that are there. Drop us a line. Tell us what you might want to listen to. Otherwise, until next time, keep your carts full. Keep your sharp. I was so close.
You were so close.
I was so close.
You start wherever you want.
All right. So until next time, keep your carts full, keep your questions sharp, and keep your margins healthy. All right. This is Jamie and Cindy signing off.
See ya.
See ya.